Hello everyone, welcome to Amrita IS, and we are starting with the second part of our July month. So, the first initiative is the RAISE initiative, that is a retrofitting of the air conditioners. Okay, so the idea is to basically reduce the indoor air quality. Now, everyone knows about this outside air pollution and the problem we have. But apart from that, we also have the problem of the indoor air pollution. Okay, I think 2 to 3 years back, it was a very important issue because at that time, Ujjwala scheme was also launched, right? So, in that context, it became important. Coming back to this particular initiative, so retrofitting of air conditioner to improve the indoor air quality for safety and efficiency. So this is basically RAISE, retrofitting of air conditioner to improve the air quality, like this. So it's a collaboration of the EESL, that is Energy Efficiency Services Limited, and in the partnership with USAID's MATRI program. So MATRI program is from the USAID, remember that. Okay, so US Agency for International Development's MATRI program is coordinating with this EESL for this RAISE initiative. Okay, along with that, one EV, electrical vehicle charging plaza, was also launched, and then the news in the PIB came. Okay, right. Next is fish cryobanks. So what are these cryobanks? So Ministry of Fisheries and Animal Husbandry has set up this has announced to set up these fish cryobanks. These cryobanks will help to have the availability of the good quality of the fish sperms to have the desired species for the fish farmers. In the July month, we also celebrated the National Fish Farmers Day on 10th of July. Okay, so this will be implemented by the National Fisheries Development Board in cooperation with the National Bureau of Fisheries Genetic Resources. So fisheries, I told you that this year prelims fisheries is an important topic. We have discussed a lot of details with respect to fisheries as well. Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana we have discussed. Draft fishery policy has also come up. So initiative with respect to fishery becomes more important for this year. Okay. So just a bit of information that we celebrate this Fish Farmer Day to basically acknowledge the works of two of the scientists, K.H. Ali Kunhi and H.L. Chaudhary. So they have worked on the idea of the technology of induced breeding in the crabs. So in 10th of July 1957, they have successfully demonstrated this. On account of that, from 10th of July, this Fish Farmer Day is celebrated. Not very important, but just for the information sake. Next is Accelerate Vigyan scheme. It's an important scheme because it has a lot of component to it. Okay, and this scheme does not belong to the Niti Aayog, so you can remember it like that as well. So this is a scheme from the SERB, that is Science and Engineering Research Board. It is a statutory body under the Ministry of the Science and Tech. Okay, so the idea is, from the name itself, Accelerate Vigyan. Vigyan means science. So acceleration of the science. So strengthening the scientific research mechanism to expand the research base, right? So the idea is, first of all, the consolidation of the scientific program, then orientation workshop, then providing the research internship to get the hands-on training to the people. So the program has basically two components. First component is Samuhan, that is bringing together. Samuh means group, right? Second is Abhyas. So first is Samuhan, second is Abhyas. We'll see that one by one. Within Samuhan and Abhyas, we have the two more programs. So the Prime Minister said the vitality of the scientific community springs from many sources, but more importantly, its capacity to identify, attract and nurture the gifted individuals. Okay, so from that, this idea has come. You can also remember this by diagrams. SERB is related and Accelerate Vigyan is there. So from images, we are able to relate to these facts, even if we are not able to revise it at the last time. So what about this Samuhan program? So bringing together. So encourage and consolidation of the scientific interaction in the country under one common roof. It has again two components. First is Sanyojika. Okay. So Sanyojika is for the, so Samuhan The first component is Sanyojika, to catalog the capacity building activities in the science and tech supported by all government funding agency. And second is Sangoshti. So it is basically an interaction. Sangoshti actually was a term used in the ancient times for group interactions. So that term is again being used, Sangoshti, right? So basically establishing the interaction of the other individuals and research group for the knowledge exchange. So Sanyojika is for the capacity building. Second is Sangoshti, means interaction. Samohan itself means coming together. Okay. Next is Abhyas. Abhyas means practice basically. So Abhyas also has two components. First is Karyashala, right? So high-end workshop, and second is Vritika, that is research internship, right? So just to summarize, we have Accelerate Vigyan, that has two components, because the one word can be asked. So first is Samohan, then Abhyas. In the Samohan we have the two Sangoshti and the other first one, I'm just forgetting the name, and then with Abhyas we have Karyashala and we have Vritika. Okay, so just to see which this one is, yes, Sanyojika. Okay. Next is Green Egg project, very important project I'll say. So basically from the name itself, Green Egg means green agriculture. So the idea is to reduce the emissions from the agriculture. Now you know that agriculture is a very prominent source of contribution to the greenhouse gases. The methane that is produced from the agriculture field, the paddy field, it is very significant. Okay, so the aim is to bring around 1 lakh hectare of the farms under the sustainable land and water management. It is being implemented in the 5 states and the specific landscape as well. Okay, so the funding, we will see the funding is done by the this Global Environment Facility. Please prepare Global Environment Facility on your own end. It is very important to remember this, right? Global Environment Facility. It is associated with the World Bank and some other things, associated with the funding of the UNFCCC as well. So funded by GEF, while in India, Department of the Agriculture and Cooperation and Farmer Welfare is the national executing agency, that is the implementing agency. The other key players being involved is FAO and MOEFCC. So regions of implementation within these 5 states. So we have different regions. So in MP we have Chamba landscape. In Mizoram we have Dampa. So we have read about Dampa Tiger Reserve, right? In Odisha we have Simlipal. In Rajasthan we have Desert National Park landscape. And Uttarakhand we have Corbett Rajaji landscape. Corbett Rajaji we have read about the Tiger Corridor as well. Okay, so there also you can see it. Next is PRAGYATA Guidelines. So what are these PRAGYATA Guidelines? These guidelines are released on the digital education. They are being released by the MHRD. Okay, now Ministry of Education. Important ones, and this question can come. So PRAGYATA Guidelines are released for the online education. These are only guidelines. These are not statutory guidelines. These are not binding in nature. These are just advisory in nature. So for example, they have said for online we have different modes, just to explain what digital education is all about, right? These all information are being done. Next, Nistha program. Nistha program is important for this year prelims. If government schemes are coming, this is one of the things that can come. So first time it's being launched in the online mode in the Himachal Pradesh. Actually, we have read Nistha scheme. The idea is basically the training of the teacher, and the training of the teacher will be done face to face. That was the first idea, but because of this corona, that has been switched to the online mode, and in the first time on the online mode, it is tried in the state of the Andhra Pradesh. Okay. Next is agreement on the emergency response program for MSMEs. So this agreement has been signed between the World Bank and the Government of India to seek a loan of $750 million, right? It will help the MSMEs in the current COVID scenario. So 750 million agreement for the emergency response program for the MSMEs. Next is India Energy Modeling Forum. This one is also relatively more important. So recently launched by the joint working group meeting of the Sustainable Growth Pillar of basically it's being the coordination of Niti Aayog and the US agency US8. Okay, and on that basis India is now having its own energy modeling forum. India actually did not have its own energy modeling forum. What this energy modeling forum means, let us see first. It basically means building these models, right? These models of energy system so as to analyze them, analyze the need of any different sources, the project depending upon the future projections, whether they will be able to cater the future projections or not, right? So these such models will employ the scenario analysis to investigate the different assumptions about the technical and the economic conditions at play, right? So the government maintain the national energy models for the energy policy development. So when we have, obviously it's very commonsensical, when we have the models, we can use those models to create a more holistic and evidence-based policy making, right? In your in the Niti Aayog strategy for New India, there is a whole chapter dedicated to this evidence-based policy making, and this is one of the examples of it, you can say. So this is energy modeling. So it entails data management, data modeling, collaboration of the low carbon technologies. Low carbon technologies are also important. So in our future energy needs, how we incorporate this low carbon, or what is said that decarbonization path. Okay, right. So next is Directorate of the Revenue Intelligence. So Directorate of the Revenue Intelligence, it's an agency within the Ministry of the Finance under the Central Board of the Indirect Taxes. So the major work of this intelligence agency is India's apex anti-smuggling agency, investigation and operation agency. It also takes care of the frauds, commercial frauds related to the international trade and evasion of the custom duty. Okay, so basically they're also in the news because of the Kerala gold scam also. Okay, so from that regard you can remember that. Okay, right. So we are done with the session. Let us quickly see the questions that we're going to discuss in this session. Starting with the first one, which of the following statement with respect to the public distribution system in India is not correct? So remember, the question is not correct. First option is FCI is the nodal agency for procurement and distribution of the food grains. FCI is the, okay. Next is procurement is done under the open-ended basis by FCI. Third, surplus food grains are disposed by FCI and state government at a market rate. Third, fourth, FCI undertakes the direct procurement in the non-DCP states. So please try the questions and then we will discuss it. Right. So basically we have read about the PDS system in detail. We have read about FCI 1 to 2 times. It's a relatively easy question. So first statement is right? So FCI is the nodal agency for procurement and distribution of the food grain. That is right. Secondly, procurement is done at an open-ended basis. That means there is no cap. For example, on the MSP, if FCI is procuring, there is no cap on it. Okay, this much has to be procured. So there is no cap on it. Whereas our Shanta Kumar committee says that there should be a cap on it. There should not be an open-ended procurement done by the FCI that they do. Third option, the surplus food grains are disposed by FCI and state government at a market rate. This is wrong. It is not given at a market rate, surplus food, after which is given to the PDS. What is remaining, if they want to give, they can give under the open market sales scheme. But that is given at a predetermined rate, not at the market rate. So C statement becomes wrong, right? And D1, FCI undertakes the direct procurement in the non-DCP states. Answer is yes. Non-DCP means, so those states which are implementing the decentralized procurement, there the FCI is not intervening. There the state itself are doing the procurement part. Okay, so where this non-decentralized procurement is there, obviously FCI will come in and take the procurement of it. So all these things are mentioned there. Just you can go through these and download PDF. So it functions under the aegis of the Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution, right? First thing. Then procurement of the wheat and other paddy and other things are done on the open-ended basis. So accepting all the grains that are being sold by the farmers at the declared MSP price. Thirdly, FCI and the state government, based upon the allocation, they are given at a predetermined price under the open market sales scheme. We have discussed this open market sales schemes as well, and we have discussed about this non-DCP states. So you can revise from that. So option is C is right. Second question, let us see. Consider the following statement regarding the recently introduced Tech for Tribal program. So option 1, Ministry of Tribal Affairs has launched it. Option 2, it aims at to impart the entrepreneurship training to the tribal forest produce gatherers under the PM Van Dhan Yojana. So basically it's a very easy question, but you can fall into the trap. For example, whenever you are reading these schemes, you know that this Ministry of Tribal Affairs is launching it because it is a tribal related initiative, but it is not in this case. It is a TriFed which is launching this program. We have read about it actually. So Tech for Tribal program, it's an initiative of the TriFed, supported by the MSME industry, not by the Ministry of Tribal Affairs. So this is where the ministry you need to keep in mind, right? These small initiatives sometimes become important. So it aims at the capacity building and the imparting of the entrepreneurship skills under this Van Dhan Yojana. So Van Dhan Yojana we have also discussed. This is an umbrella scheme for the tribals. Okay, under this Van Dhan internship and all these things are also being done. So this is first statement is wrong, second statement is right. Next is recent Supreme Court decision related to the telecom sectors ruled on the definition of which of the following terms. So which of the following terms were being said in the recent judgment? Adjusted gross revenue, spectrum user charges, annual license fees, average revenue per user. It's been news, in fact 2 days ago also in the news it has come. Supreme Court has given the judgment that how these telecos can pay their charges. So what's the answer? So answer is A, adjusted gross revenue is the answer, right? So it is basically on all these changes were going on. So basically the question was on the definition of the AGR. So whether the definition given by the telecos need to be accepted or the definition given by the DOT, that is Department of the Telecommunication, has to be accepted. So Department of Telecommunication obviously will say the charges are more, they should pay more. And the telecos will say no, the charges only comes from the telecom services. We have discussed that. And the DOT says no, the charges coming from the others, charges coming from the other non-telecom sources should also come into being. So that was the concern between both of them. And finally they have decided, okay, Supreme Court has said the definition of the DOT will follow, hence the companies have to pay more. Now how they have to pay more? For example, 2 days ago only in the newspaper it has come that they have to pay they can pay all this amount in 10 years time. Okay, so again this issue will linger on, and this is a very important issue for this year prelims. This question like this can come. Next is consider the following statement regarding the farmers in India. There is no conclusive legal definition of the farmers in India. First. Second, most agriculture schemes and the loan waiver benefit only the land owning farmers. Mostly they benefit the land owning farmers. So which of the statement is right? It's a easy question. So basically let's come to the solution. If you want to solve, you can pause the video and you can you can still think about it. So basically it came into being because an MP was asked a question by a BJP MP itself, the MP has asked question to the minister in the parliament. Okay, so the minister has said there is no clear definition of the farmer we have. Okay, so there is no legal definition of the farmer in India. The minister has said actually the agriculture is a state subject, so we don't have a legal definition of the farmer at the central level. Okay, first thing is that. Second option is obviously right. Most of the agricultural scheme and loan waiver benefit only the land owning farmer, and that is being one of the biggest problem in the Indian agriculture we know. So second statement is right from our common sense or analytical abilities, you can say. And first statement is right because there is no conclusive legal definition of farmer. Yes, a definition was given by the national policy of the farmers being created by the MS Swaminathan. They have said for the purpose the farmers will be, they have defined it completely, but this is not a legal definition. Okay, so don't get confused, because in the parliament, on the floor of the house, the MP has, the minister has said that there is no legal definition of the farmers India. So both the statements are right. Let us discuss the last question related to the NALSA. Very important. If you have polity the last time, do take the revision of these ADR mechanisms, Lok Adalat, Family Court, Gram Nyayalaya. These questions can come, right? So these are important ones. Consider the following statement with regard to the National Legal Service Authority. First, it is formed under the provision provided under the Fundamental Rights and DPSP. Second, it provides the hierarchical structure at the union, state and the district level for effective legal aid. Third, the Chief Justice of India is designated executive chairman of the NALSA. Which of the following statements are correct? Right? So it's a basically polity based question. So the answer is, let us see. So in NALSA we have the Article 30, just for revision sake, 39A, 14 and 22 on guiding the philosophy of the NALSA, National Legal Service Authority. So we have these articles which are guiding it, fundamental right, DPSP both. So that's the first statement is right. They have set up a hierarchical structure both at center, state, district and even taluka state at level as well. At the central level, we have Chief Justice of India as the patron in chief and the senior most judge as the executive chairman. And that is why your third statement becomes wrong. We'll see that. At the state level also, the Chief Justice of India is the patron in chief and serving or the retired judge will be the executive chairman. At the central level, at the Supreme Court, we have the Legal Service Committee, and the High Court level, we have High Court Legal Service Committee. So these things are, this basic NALSA things are there. The rest you can prepare from your static books. So the option third is wrong. That is, the Chief Justice of India is the designated executive chairman of India, and this is wrong. The senior judge of the Supreme Court is. He is the patron in chief. Okay. So the option B is right. So with this, let us finish this session. So what we have discussed, quickly let us see. We discussed with the RAISE initiative, right? Then we talked about RAISE initiative for improving the indoor air quality, retrofitting of the air conditioner taken up by the Maitri program of the USAID and EESL. Then fish cryobanks on the day of National Fish Farmers Day. Okay, so facilitate all-time availability of the fish sperms of the desired species. Then we have Accelerate Vigyan, that is the SERB, launched by the SERB, Science Engineering Research Board, strengthening the science research mechanism in India. It itself have, we have discussed Accelerate Vigyan, Sammohan and Abhyas program. Within Sammohan, we have Samyojika and Sanghoshti program. Within Abhyas, we have one for internship, that is Karyashala, and one is for Vijika, right? I'm sorry, this is the Virtika. It's very tough Sanskrit names, right? Vritika for research internship. So this initiative can become important for the exam purpose. Next is Green Egg Project for emissions in the agriculture. Then PRAGYATA Guidelines on digital education, very important. Then NISTHA program. And then agreement on the emergency response for MSME, India Energy Modeling Forum, that is USAID and Niti Aayog initiative for the energy modeling. Then Directorate of the Revenue Intelligence, DRI, and Central Board for the, DRI, which is under the Central Board of the Indirect Taxes and the Customs. And then we have read about these questions that we have done. So PDS system, one question we have done. Then we have done Tech for Tribal, that is by Ministry of MSME and TriFed. Then adjusted gross revenue we have done, right? The question of adjusted gross revenue. Then we have seen the question on the farmer. So we don't have a legal definition of the farmer in India. And lastly, all the schemes we know that they benefit the landowning farmers. And lastly, we have done the question on the NALSA, right? So through chart, we have seen that. So with this, we finish our governance 2 session, right? So next session will be governance part 3 of July. Then we'll go for the international relations. And that's the end of the session, everyone. Bye-bye for now. Thank you.